Sex, porn, love addiction is all about self-soothing to manage your emotions. It got set up back in the childhood development years. It's just not about sex. It's not about porn. It's all about the repeated use has set up the physiology to crave those dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, self-manufactured drugs in the body. It's impacting women, men, children aged 10 to 75 across all the age ranges, the sexes, the cultures, the professions. It increased exponentially during COVID lockdown and impacting so many lives. The Kairos Center has created the first online comprehensive sex, porn, love addiction. It's a video on demand recovery program which you can access from anywhere in the world and begin to see identifiable changes just within 6 weeks of beginning this weekly program. Kairos means your appointed time. Isn't it your time to reclaim your life? Bring color back to life without shame. Click the link below and begin your journey. You owe it to yourself and to others. As you start to replay this part of the webinar, what I want you to understand is there are 3 ways in which we likely will be trying to get our core emotional needs met. The first one is fight. We will do fight with individuals around us. So often it's a partner, a wife, a husband, the children, colleagues, friends. We don't necessarily do the fisty thing, as I call it, where it looks like a physical fight. So often it's a more passive approach to it, and the passive aggressive, I don't know if you know passive aggressive, I won't try and define that right now, but it's a more hidden type of fight. I often say us men have perfected a form of passive aggressive where we go into the quiet treatment, the silent treatment, when we have been upset by a wife, a female partner. We remove touch and conversation, and with us men that can go on for days and days, often just about it, until we want intimacy, and then perhaps we'll try and make up at that point. But we, men and women, with a passive-aggressive approach, used to be tactile because somebody has upset us, that person, we withdraw from conversation with them and use minimalist words. We withdraw tactile touch, and that can go on for days, as I say. That is a form of fighting with somebody. Arguments as well, verbally fighting. You say black, somehow find myself saying white. We used to connect with our words, with our conversations, and more recently, somehow we're just missing each other constantly when we're saying something, when we're talking, when we're having conversations. What's going on? Maybe it's something to do with fighting the other person because we perceive they're no longer meeting our core needs. We can't put it into words. We can't be saying things like, I'm upset with you because the last time you met my core need to feel a sense of approval and comfort was 6 months ago, and because of that, my core emotional needs are depleted. That's why I'm arguing with you, I'm picking a fight with you. And it's just, what? Reality is, that might be exactly what's going on. But we don't talk like that. Often because we don't understand the situation, the scenario that's playing itself out. I hope that makes a bit of sense. The next one after fight is flight. Why don't you write down this definition of flight? My definition of flight is we move ourselves out of the place where we perceive our core emotional needs are not being met, and instead we put ourselves in a different environment, a different situation where we perceive our core emotional needs are more likely to be met. I often use an example, and the example that I use to try and describe flight is this. Man and wife, I hope this isn't seen as in any way sexist, but we do have a stay-at-home mum. Let's give her 3 under 7 children. She's a busy stay-at-home mum. Life is full on. He is a high flyer in the workplace. He's up for promotion. He's working on a really important project to the company and doing a good job. Now, when he gets home, he wants to tell his wife about all that he's been doing in the office and the project and how well it is going and the fact that he's up for promotion. But as he gets home, let's say 6 o'clock, she's just about to put the last lot of bottles in the sterilizer for the night feed of the youngest. The washing machine's just been set off. She's just got the man's tea, given it to him. She knows that he loves for her to be in the room as he eats his food. But as she does do that, she actually starts to fall asleep. She is so tired and exhausted. And he respects that, and he understands that, and he loves her, he sees how hard she works, and values all that she does. But he would love to talk to her about his day in the work. So, in time, what starts to happen is he no longer comes home for 6 o'clock, but stays in work longer and gets home for about 7:30. He can easily justify why he's working long hours to his wife, and she understands. In fact, it's a bit of space for her just to get an early night. But in the staying in the office, of course, what's happening is he is getting some, not all, but some of his core emotional needs met. He's enjoying his project. That's given him a sense of whichever of the core emotional needs you want to choose. Now, let's put into the scene a secretary who makes a comment to him. I can see you're up for promotion. I can see the partners are really pleased with you. You're obviously very good at what you do. His eyes light up from her comments. They get chatting, and he asks, well, let me take you out to lunch and I'll tell you more about the project. Can you see where I'm going with this? They do go out to lunch. He shares about the project. She just needs to smile every now and then and nod every now and then. Not that she necessarily fully understands everything that he is saying, but as she gives him attention, he is experiencing a sense of a number of his core emotional needs being filled up, topped up. I often describe it a bit like, have you ever experienced being really thirsty, absolutely parched, a summer's day, you didn't bring enough water, perhaps you've been on a run, a jog or something. Have you ever experienced that where water just looks, in fact ice cold water, just looks so good, feels so good, parched? And do you remember what your body feels like after you get that ice cold bottle of water and you start to drink? It's like everything in you starts to liven up and you just come back alive. I often joke, for those of us who are of this age, we remember this advertisement for Heineken. Heineken reaches the parts other beers cannot reach. Don't know if you remember that one. It's an age-related thing, don't worry if you don't. But the point I make is, as the water is going down, it's a bit like a drought and all the plants have wilted and withered and and then when the rain starts, if you were to watch the plants over a period of time as the rain falls up on them, you'll see them start to just come alive and open up and bud. Well, it's just like that when you drink that water. It's just like that when depleted core emotional needs that have been depleted for long periods of time start to be met. So this secretary is starting to meet a number of core emotional needs, and he's coming alive, more alive. And he says something interesting, which is, you understand me so much more than my wife. He's gone to dangerous territory now. Personal with business. But that's the reality of what he's feeling. But recognize feelings aren't always telling the truth. You know that with sex, porn, love addiction, not always telling the truth. But the fact is, he has experienced such a high from her attention that he feels love and affection. It isn't love and affection. In fact, they meet a few times for lunch, and they may go on to become intimate, to have sex. As soon as the sex is finished, for him, the bubbles bursts. No pun intended, but I guess it is, isn't it? Reality kicks in, and he recognizes, why did I do that? Why did I do that? I know I don't love you. I know I love my wife. I don't understand why I've done what I've done. The answer is, she met a number of his depleted core emotional needs, and he had put himself in danger because he had flight to get his core needs met. That's just an example. You don't have to take it too much as reality. Having said that, I am also a couples counsellor, a marriage counsellor, and that very much is what I see in reality. It's a flight in to get core emotional needs met.